Oh man, first of all, I told the team in the locker room that 2 weeks in a row we've been a good football team in all three phases, and when you play well, offensively, the way in which we were able to run the football tonight. The third down conversions was outstanding. Again, for the second week in a row, some of the receivers made some really good catches, but then the run after catch has been one of the things that they've done the last 2 weeks. It's been really, really good. James has spread the ball around. Tight ends have caught several balls, all the wide receivers. We got 5 running backs in the game tonight, which was really good. Got some of the young kids, Sean Peterson and Flex Thompson, got a chance to get in there late in the game. The other 3 guys, they play all the time, so they did a nice job. And I thought our offensive line, because we had some serious concerns because of their pass rush. They had shown in previous games, they had shown it against Clemson, they had shown it in games that they did not win, but they had put a lot of heat on the quarterback. And a couple times they hit James one time, obviously, and there was kind of a sack and a fumble, and Devontae Price was alert and aware and picked up the ball and turned a negative play that could have been a bad play if they would have recovered it into a gigantic play, getting it across the 50-yard line and us scoring. Defensively, I'm going to brag a little tiny bit on our coaches. At halftime, they were having success, and we knew going into the game that one of the major keys to winning this game was going to be able to stop the run. I mean, the running back is just really, really a good runner. He's powerful. He runs with his shoulders over his knees. He will move the pile, and when they can do the deal that they do with the quarterback, where they fake to him and they get outside, it what we call eye conflict, and it's conflict of assignments where guys that have got gaps responsibility, but they also have perimeter responsibility. And at halftime, we scrapped some of the things that we were doing defensively. We just said, you know what, that's not a good – it looked like on paper it was good, but it really gave up the edges and gave up the perimeters in trying to stop the run. And if we could put them into a situation where they had to throw the football, we felt like that would be to our advantage, that we would have good rushers, that we could get pressure on the quarterback, keep them in the pocket. He had given nightmares to just about every they had played with nakeds and bootlegs, and then by design and by scrambles and stuff. And then special teams, the kickoffs, all getting touchbacks, that part of it was good. We didn't have to punt very much tonight. I think we punted, one time tonight, and I think Tommy hit 154 yards. So from that standpoint, it was pretty good. So it was a very good team victory.
Coach, what do you think's been the biggest difference from the rough start early in the year to now? You mentioned playing with 80,000 fans at the games.
Well, I mean, I think this is what I told the players when we had the open date. And we talked about it because we did an analytical. We looked at all the things that had not been good. And some of the things in the games that we had not played well in, it was self-inflicted. Things that just crazy things that happened at the worst time. The Anthony Jones, who scored 4 touchdowns tonight, diving with one hand on the ball, at La Tech. You really got to do it with 2 hands. We thought the replay showed it looked like that he broke the plane because the guy that knocked the ball out was in the end zone when he punched the ball out. But so you lose 7 points there. You miss a field goal. Now it's down 10. You get a penalty in the end zone. They get a 15-yard penalty. They move up. They get a drive. They get a chance to make a field goal at the end of the half. That's 16 points just on 3 things that just, good experienced football teams, you cannot shoot yourself in the foot. You can't self-inflict things. So we really worked hard on just do your job. Do the very best you can. Finish every play hard and compete, and good things will happen. And so far, it's so good.
There was a play where I think it was LeMay scored. And
When who scored? LeMay?
When LeMay scored, I believe it was a running play, and Sage got hurt, and I think Stanley got hurt. Can you tell me what happened
Yeah,
on that play that you
sure.
saw?
Yeah.
Any progress?
Sure. Well, who knows, tonight. I mean, Sage has been playing, to be honest with you, since the La Tech game. He did it in UMass. He's played with a little bit of a pulled hamstring. So the score indicated no reason to put him back in the game, okay? So we went in and played with Tevin Jones, who has done an outstanding job. I mean, he's really, really playing good. He's smart. He's good in coverage. He's a good athlete. This is his first year to actually get some playing opportunities, and so it was kind of good. The score indicated that, we probably weren't going to lose the game, so it gave a lot of backup guys an opportunity to play. And you asked, besides Sage, Stanley. Well, he came back in. He played a little bit, but he was fine. He was okay.
You talk about the young guys. Can you talk about Lex and his progress? He got some carries, look pretty good there.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what. Mike Gibbs, who is a new compliance person that has joined our staff probably about 6 weeks ago has been outstanding in writing and helping these kids like Alexi and some of those guys like Chris Whitaker. In August, we had no idea whether or not they would play 1 minute this entire season, and they spent probably the first 6 weeks on the scout team. And week after week after week, our compliance department just kept hammering away and getting all the details that they needed to try to help these guys that had transferred in to get immediate eligibility. And getting Alexi and getting Chris has added a dimension that we haven't had since I've been here, is that when we get into a throwing contest and it's nickel and dime situations, now we've got some guys. Now we can take what used to be our two defensive ends, Noah Curtis and Kevin Oliver and Tier Tart and those guys, and move them inside. And now we're pretty athletic on the inside, and we're fast, and we got some speed. And Chris last week had a good sack against UMass. Alexi had one tonight, and they just got they've got good football instincts, and so that's been a really good deal. You asked somebody besides Alexi. Who else did you ask? Flex Joseph. Oh, yeah. No, we're trying to sprinkle some of those freshmen, give them some playing times on special teams. He played on kickoff cover tonight, and he's doing some stuff. DeMarcus Townsend and some of those guys. We're trying to find roles for them on all the special teams just to get some game playing experience.
Is it easier to focus now that 2 wins in a row?
I mean, honest to God, good football teams, the record's 0-0. We hadn't won a game. Next week is the first game of the season. It's just one game at a time, and that's how you just kind of gain some momentum and you keep building. I have the utmost respect, and I've known him for a long, long time, Bill Belichick at New England. And when you think about how hard it is to be good every week for 12, 13 years in a row, and the secret, if you talk to players that have played there and coaches that have coached there and stuff like that, every week is a brand new week. And what you've done in the past doesn't mean anything. And that could have been a little tiny bit of some of the issues that we dealt with maybe in the first week or two, in that, it's a new program from the standpoint that they haven't had success in the previous years. But as you start to have some success, you got to realize that last year's record doesn't mean anything. Winning 9 games last year means absolutely 0 this year. And I think that our kids have bought into the idea that they know they got to prepare. How you play on Saturday is determined by how you prepare, Sunday through Friday. And if you prepare well, you'll probably play well.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. I think
You're never wrong, Walter.
You changed the starting lineup 2 weeks ago with putting Shane at center.
Right.
And Dallas to guard. And since then, the running game is really clicking.
Yeah.
Why'd you make the change, and how's that helped?
Yeah. Well, Shane had an issue with his Dallas had an issue with his wrist, and snapping in the gun deal, there was some balls that were low, some balls that were high and stuff like that, and it just made it easy. Because Shane practiced the entire year last year and this year as the backup center. He would have been the guy that would have gone in, so it was just an easy switch, putting those guys in there. They're both super smart. They're really good at identifying the protections and, who the potential blitzers are and how to change, the line calls and stuff, and so, it just worked out that way.
Coincidence that the running game is clicking.
Yeah, and I just think that, an offensive line, and I've said this for a long, long time, that it may be the single most difficult group to build together because 5 people have all got to be on the same page. Corners are on the opposite side of the field, and he has no difference with the other corner and stuff like that. But those 5 offensive line guys, they got to be absolutely on the right page as far as how they're going to block protections, how they work with the guy that's next to them. If it's a double team, they're trying to come off at the second level. And you need reps. You need to play. You need to play. You need to play. And we felt like that we had good talent there, but they needed to get some game experience and play together because we're sticking some guys in there. Mershawn Miller and Shaq Williams have been flipping back and forth at right guard. Devontae Taylor has gone from right tackle where he starts, and we've put him over there at left tackle to give DeAndre Demery a little bit of a blow, then put him back in, but it allows us to get Lindell Hudson to get him into the game, who started last week. And guys, there's no substitute when you can build some depth in the offensive line. You really truly need to have at least 8 guys that can go into the game, and that's about where we're at right now.
Coach a ton of great running backs and
Yeah.
You know, he's running for over 500 yards.
Yeah.
That's a two-part question. One, how happy are you to know that
Yeah.
you're not facing him anymore? Second part of that.
Be glad he graduate. Hurry up, yeah.
Second part of the question is how talented of a back?
He is talented, okay, and he has. I mean, there's some traits that really, truly, in my opinion, separate really good running backs from just the average guys. He runs with power, okay, but he's got good vision. That the hole may be and the play may have been designed here, and this is what I love about Anthony Jones and Napoleon Maxwell, really good running backs. That may be there, but the hole may be here. And he runs and he will find creases, and he runs with power. He runs with his shoulders. If you watch all the film, his shoulders are always over his knee. And he's what looks like it's going to be a 2-3 yard run ends up being about 4. And then sometimes he'll pop and get outside and stuff. So he's a very, very good running back.
Piggyback off Walter's question. Two of the guys who've gotten playing time on the defensive line, Andrew Tarver and Rashad Colson.
Yeah.
Talk about how they've been.
Yeah, we graduated a lot of kids in the defensive line last year, and so going into spring, the question was, we knew you can't play 4 defensive linemen. I mean, we're at the stage that we're probably minimum, we're playing at least 10, if not 11 guys every single game, and those 2 guys went into the spring where there was a big question mark. Will they be talented enough and good enough to be part of the rotation? Could they be the starters? And they had a great off-season conditioning program. Andrew worked extraordinarily hard, super, super strong. And he can help stuff the run. Rashad is bigger and quicker than a lot of people give him credit for, and he's got long arms. He's got a good combination of being able to rush from the inside and and collapse the pocket and make the quarterback spill out to the ends. And so they've been good, and between those 2 guys and Jordan Woods and Tier Tart, I mean, we've got a pretty good 4-man rotation going on. And then when we get into some of the nickel and dime stuff, we can take some of the ends when it's 3rd down and 13 or 14, and the likelihood that they're going to try to run some kind of a power running game, now you get 4 really good pass rushers on the field at the same time.
What are some of the defensive adjustments that you guys made during halftime?
Yeah, we were giving up plays. If you looked at it, we were giving up plays on the edges. I mean, they had runs that were supposed to probably hit somewhere around the C gap between the guard and the tackle, but it was bouncing outside because we weren't getting the edge set, whether it was the defensive end or whether it was the outside linebacker or whether it was the strong safety to string the ball out to the sidelines. And so some of those things we adjusted with the way in which we lined up some of the defensive ends, and one of the defensive calls that we made, we just kind of scrapped it and said we're just not going to call it the second half, and we were able to keep the quarterback in the containment and able to keep the ball inside the tackles.
Well, James, 13 and 16, very efficient.
Yeah.
Do you remember any bad passes he threw?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it said. It said, what were we on 3rd down conversions? It was ridiculous. It was like, I don't know what it was, like 11 of, I don't know what was 3rd down, 9 of 11. So that's pretty good. And lets you keep drives alive, we kept things going, kept the defense off the field when Charlotte was hot and having some success, and the offense just kept scoring touchdowns and putting the pressure on them to where it wasn't going to be a shootout. And, James, I mean, he's just, I wish people, all the great quarterbacks that I've ever seen or coached against in the NFL, one of the things is that they're filmaholics. And he is. I mean, he's in here, he's watching film all week long. He takes